I'm in Salad and I saw Triumph of the Will. It is directed by Lenny Riefenstahl. How do I pronounce this guy's name?
Leni Riefenstahl.
Anyway, if you haven't seen this movie, I will spoil it for you. And by the way, this movie was requested by one of the PKA boys when I was on the PKA episode. If you want to know which one requested me to watch this movie, go check that out. On with the review. This movie is literally just propaganda. This is propaganda from 1934. This was commissioned, like literally at the beginning of the movie, it says in plain text that this was commissioned by Adolf Hitler to make. And I'm like, wow, okay, I'm watching some propaganda. Let's see what German propaganda looks like. Here's what German propaganda is like. A lot of cheering, a lot of, wow, I can't believe it. Oh my goodness, our supreme leader's here. Oh, and we got a bunch of like happy faces, all the looking at the happy faces. And I'm like, oh man, this is really smearing it on to make it seem like joining this party, the Nazi party is like amazing and cool and stuff. This is what this movie paints it like. So immediately I'm like, I have historical context. I have all of the historical context. It's been like 90 years since all this jazz happened, you know what happened. I don't need to explain it to you. But I was looking at this, I'm like, okay, I can literally see how a bunch of people signed up to be part of the Nazi party because of how this movie portrays being part of the military. This movie portrays being part of the military as like something fun. Like, we're all having fun here. We're all pushing carts together. We're all being happy dandy. We're all laughing. We're all shouting. We're all smiling. We're all having a great time. And as somebody who like has seen a lot of military movies, who's met a lot of people from the military, no, military, any military whatsoever, not at all pretty like this movie is painting it. This movie doesn't like explain what it was like to be in the military, to be like drill sergeanted by the officers of the Nazi party if you become like a Nazi private, I guess. I don't know how the ranking system works. I personally don't care about Nazi stuff. This is just a recommendation. I'm like, oh, weird movie choice. I can see if you're born in if you were in the 1930s and you saw this piece and you just saw all of the military men having a fun time, right, and that didn't convince you, then maybe the amounts of leaders, Nazi leaders, talking about ideals and be like, oh, we're here to make idealistic ideals. It's time for us to have an idealistic future. I'm like, okay, interesting. So now knowing what happened in history, 6 million Jewish people were killed. They didn't mention anything about the Jewish people in this, by the way. It was just about ideas and the ideal, like, hey, if you have this ideal, then you should join the Nazi party. And that's pretty much what this is. It's just actually 2 hours of people cheering when they see Adolf Hitler, a bunch of leaders talking about the ideas, the ideals of the Nazi party, and then a bunch of military men having a grand old time in the fields. Wow, this reeks propaganda to me. None of this is a reality. Wow, okay. Look, there's only one thing I could really compliment this film on, And it's that I'm impressed with the aerial camera shot. Like, in the very beginning, there's an aerial camera shot. I'm like, oh, wow, that's cool. I don't know if there's any movies from the 1930s that did this, but at least this piece did the camera shot, the aerial camera shot. And when I saw this, I was like, wow, this is impressive. But I also don't know much about film history to even properly compliment this piece on that one specific thing I just mentioned, because there could be earlier films that did this, and I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. Wow. Interesting. Propaganda is so fascinating, and I think I have the eyes to see right through it. Even modern propaganda, I can see right through. You know, this movie's weird. I mean, weird in the sense that I know what happened in the historical context. I know, like, the full context. I didn't learn any of this stuff in school, by the way. None of this stuff was taught in schools about how the recruitment methods of the Nazi Party. No, none of that was taught. It was only taught that 6 million Jewish people were dead, and people like Magneto were in Auschwitz and in the camps. And so that's all I know really much about it. So this film, yes, it taught me things. It taught me the propaganda piece used, the ways in which the German government persuaded the German people to be part of this war. Also, the very beginning is like, first of all, the establishing where they are in time, very confusing. They keep using different numbers, like 19 months since we lost the war, 20 months since Germany has suffered, or something like that. All of it was to rile up the German people who felt like they were being beat down, because I think they had to pay for the First World War, right? I think that's what happened, but they got shafted in World War I. And so this piece is to, like, with the opening text of show off your German pride, or show that the German people have been suffering, and they've taken the brunt of all the damages that people have caused, and the German people are getting a little bit of all the slack, actually, for even just a little bit of action, right? Stuff like that. I mean, look, watching this film, and I'm like, very important historical teaching document. You gotta be able to learn from the past. You gotta be able to know what happened in history, so history doesn't repeat itself. So looking at this, I'm like, this is a good resource to learn from what propaganda looks like, how the propaganda was used, like the specific shots that they chose to shoot in order to recruit people. I found that to be fascinating, because it's like a psychological look into the human psyche. Oh, I'm looking at those dudes be happy, and they go run in the fields and they're laughing. I want to be one of those guys. Like, if you're just a German dude watching on a, I don't know what they would be watching it on, honestly. Movie theaters? Man, I don't know anything about the 30s. So if you've seen this, let me know. If you ever want to learn what propaganda was like during the World War II on the German side, this is for you. Other than that, I think you can just take my review for it. You don't have to watch it. It's literally just long shots of everyone being happy that Adolf Hitler is there. And I'm just looking at him, I'm like, oh, everyone's smiling. Everyone's like happy that he's near. Everyone's like super duper happy that he's near. And then I'm thinking to myself, oh, everyone has to like the person in order to even put him in a position of power to allow the atrocity to even happen. So of course everyone's happy with him. Whew, wow. Human psychology is interesting. Anyway, this is whatever, I guess. This gets, I don't know how to rate this. This is propaganda. The effectiveness of propaganda. I mean, I like the camera shots. I like it. Oh man. I gotta give this solid 6 out of 10. If you like this review, watch another one. The platform really likes that. If you want to fast track a movie review, you can do that for $20 redeemos at patreon.com/ASEPresents. And if you'd like to help support the daily grind of all them daily movie reviews, go to this link tree, find a way you can help support the daily grind of all them daily movie reviews. So you can go here, and until next time, mint salad sauce. He likes my salad, croutons, and bacon bits. And I'm gonna march out of here. Is this me? Is this marching?